Welcome to the Heart of Giving. As you know, this program is to introduce to you the wonderful nonprofits that we have at the City of Long Beach. The things that are happening for our youth, for our adults, anyone that has a special need. There are groups in the City of Long Beach that meet your need. Today we have somebody really special. I am so pleased to have him on this program because he is one of the busiest men right now because he's facing something in the next month that we could never imagine doing ourselves. So we are so pleased to have Bill Shumard. And Bill, as you know, was the athletic director at Cal State Long Beach for how long?
For 10 years.
For 10 years. And that was how long ago?
That was from 1995 to 2005. So it's been 10 years ago, Bev.
Okay. So then when he left, you know, instead of retiring, he found something else that probably is one of the most exciting and satisfying positions. And he is the CEO of Special Olympics Southern California. And I am so pleased to have you because I know you're busier than anything because next month, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but I want to first just get to know you again. I haven't seen you for a long time. And so you left Cal State Long Beach. You went directly to the Special Olympics?
Yes, and I've been there ever since. And of course, I didn't go far because one of the first things I did was to institute a request for proposal to see where we should move our headquarters city. And lo and behold, we landed in Long Beach.
Oh,
how about
surprise,
that?
Surprise,
Yeah, so it really worked out well, Bev.
Where was it before?
It was in Culver City. And
okay.
Just to show you what how powerful our brand is and probably sports in general in our society, when I was named to the position, I had a few friends and colleagues from different cities reach out and say, "Where's your headquarters?" "Well, we're in Culver City." "Why are you there and what do they do for you?" Which gave me the idea that someone out there wanted to do something for us.
Very
so
good.
We went out to bid, and Long Beach, we had to play our hand carefully because we didn't want to tip our hand. Long Beach lapped the field. I mean, Long Beach really and of course you were mayor at that point in time, and you had a great deal to do with that, Bev, but it was really no contest. I think we were coming to Long Beach from day one.
That's wonderful. Well, you know, what is the territory that Special Olympics in this area covered?
We cover actually from San Luis Obispo to San Diego. We cover half the state.
Okay.
There are 52 Special Olympics programs in the United States, and then there's a Special Olympics program in 177 countries around the world. But our particular footprint is San Luis Obispo to San Diego.
And the Special Olympics, we know what the Special Olympics are, but what do you do to get all of that going?
Sure, it's a great question, Bev. As strong as our brand is, and it is one of the strongest, most recognized, most respected brands, right up there with Starbucks, in our society. However, there are a lot of misconceptions. I know when I took the job, somebody said, but that's just that track meet that they do once a year for kids. And actually that's so far from the realm of truth. We serve athletes from 8 to 80, and they compete ideally in their local communities, hopefully year-round. See, we compete in 12 sports in 2 different seasons.
That's what I was going to ask. So you have 12 sports.
12 sports in 2 different seasons. And our hope is that an athlete is involved in at least one sport a season so that they're active and they're doing something year-round. They're training in their local community and then working their way up in competitions to the area level, to the regional level, and then finally to the chapter level, which is our event coming up at Long Beach State.
Okay, so. And when you say 12 what?
12 sports. We compete in 12 different sports.
You don't have to say all of them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Things like track and field, swimming, gymnastics, volleyball, softball, basketball. Bocce's a big sport, especially for our older athletes. Bowling, tennis, golf. A lot of them golf better than I do.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's amazing the level of athletic ability that you see from some of our athletes. Now, we have a lot of athletes who also have physical handicaps also,
That's what I was
besides the
going to
mental
say. It is
handicap.
mental handicap and physical
Correct.
handicaps.
Correct. You have to qualify for Special Olympics by being intellectually disabled, if you will, and that's a
Or physically.
yeah. Well, no, physically, the Paralympics handles athletes with physical disabilities. If you have intellectual disabilities, you're eligible for Special Olympics. But a lot of those athletes happen to have a physical defect too, and of course we have room for all of them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's when you took it over here in Southern California, what was the participation rate?
Great question. When you get into misconceptions, people thought it was all about kids. The first question I asked, well, how many athletes are we serving? Well, we're serving 8,000 athletes. Well, what's our average age? 37 years old.
37
we
years
were
old?
dying on the vine. So we immediately developed a school partnership program, and of course, Long Beach Unified is one of our big partners.
Absolutely.
And now we've grown our athlete base to 19,000, from 8,000 to 19,000 in 10 years, and the average age of our athlete has dropped to under 20. So, which tells you that the
you're
bulk
getting
of our
youth.
athletes are young, and we're partnering with schools. But of course, the real key, Bev, is to engage them initially in the schools and then get them in the local program after they're done with school, so we can change their life for the rest of their life.
And if someone participates, we'll say for the first time, and we'll say doesn't win, doesn't lose badly, can they go next time and try to do better?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, our founder, used to say to our athletes, when you lose, you don't cry, you go home and you get better. And so occasionally I get, isn't it wonderful what you do for those poor people? Our athletes don't look at it that way. They're competitors just like you and I. They compete with dignity, with respect, with courage, with joy, but they compete. They don't want anything given to them. And so,
They know
yeah,
what they're doing.
Exactly, yeah. And so, if you're not successful, you practice and you get better, just like the rest of us do. And then that's where achievement comes in life. I think the thing we learn from them, though, Beth, is that when they lose, they're not sore losers. And our athletes are also very gracious winners. So you see a lot of joy and you see a lot of dignity and a lot of respect, which in my mind, that's what sports is all about. So.
Well, so many times when we have heard a representative from the Special Olympics speak about their experience, you can tell that they're going to do it again. You know, I mean, they're excited about it. They're excited about facing the next time.
We become not only the competitive opportunity for our athletes, we're kind of the social hub of their lives too, because when you think about it, adults with intellectual disabilities, we feel we represent and advocate for the last underrepresented segment in society, people with intellectual disabilities. So we become like their social center also. And one of the great things when
good friends there.
Absolutely. And when we do the overnighter at Long Beach State, which is coming up in just a few weeks now, they have a dance on that Saturday night. That's a thing to behold. A thing
Is that right?
to behold.
That's wonderful.
It's amazing. And it wouldn't surprise you. It's just like anybody
dance.
else. Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. A lot of proposals going on in those dances.
No, is that right?
Yeah, marriage proposals, and I'm sure other proposals. But
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, very good. You know, I don't think people realize when you say the Olympics that you serve people over 30.
Yeah.
You know, because Olympics means, you know, the best of the best.
Sure. Well, Bev, it'll bless your heart when you see athletes in their 60s and 70s playing bocce, bowling, finding ways to stay active, and of course, socially connected. It's just, we become a way of life.
Tell me about the parents.
It's good because we're engaging younger athletes now. One of Eunice's major rules is you don't pay to play. That puts the onus on us to raise the funds. When I first came in, the great bulk of our athletic population, you know, the average age was 37 years old. We had a lot of adults living in group homes, A lot of their parents had passed on. Now that we're attracting a much younger base, we are establishing relationships with the parents. Now, it used to be, from what I understand, we were a place where, and raising a special needs child is certainly a challenge. And it's like, it gives the parent a respite. I'm going to drop my child off for a few hours at Special Olympics and that'll give me a break. We're delighted to find that today's parent really wants to be engaged. They want to be involved. They want to coach. They want to help us fundraise. So engaging the parent, it's just like building up a donor base and a support base as you would at a university or a house of worship.
Well, you know, asking about parents, that's probably pretty obvious what the answer would be, but just seeing the parents at the games when their children are running or their children are participating is just heartwarming. And then the final, you know, especially if somebody comes in first, second, or third, you know, they're just absolutely thrilled. Because they hadn't seen their children in that type of situation before.
The parents actually see life-changing moments.
And
the first
growth.
time my child talked, the first time my child smiled, the first time my child interacted with somebody. Amazing, life-changing stuff.
And if a participant comes back another year, do they feel like they've done better and then they come back again? I mean, do you see progress that way?
Oh, sure. And like I say, they're all competitive at heart. And so if they get to a certain level one year, they're not stopping there. They want to get better.
Especially if they got third.
No, exactly right. No, they want to get better. But you know, one of the biggest thrills to me is not only interacting with our athletes, but with the parents who are so grateful that we've been able to provide something that's life-changing for their child. It's
That's
great.
wonderful. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about that before we talked about what's really happening in June.
Yes.
We're filming this in May, but it's going to be showing in the next couple of weeks when we reach the month of June. And what's happening in the month of June?
Sure. June 13th and 14th is our Summer Games Championship, which will be held for the 17th year on the campus of California State University, Long Beach. We will be competing in 6 sports there over 2 days, Saturday, July 13th, Sunday, June 13th, June 14th. We expect about 10,000 people. There'll be an additional buzz this year because, as you know, we're only a couple of months out from the World Games, the largest event in the world this year.
We're going to get to that.
Sure, but 17 years at Long Beach State. As I was telling you earlier, Bev, you and Bob Maxson, the president who I worked under, you guys were instrumental in luring Special Olympics to leave UCLA with this event, come to Long Beach State 17 years ago, almost 2 decades.
You know, we say we were part of this. It's very easy to say yes to something good.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Both of your answers were, why would we say no to that? But people come out, I think, to, first of all, it's free. We don't sell tickets. It's free. I'm thrilled that all the venues on campus, the swimming pool, the small gym for gymnastics, the pyramid for basketball, the track for track and field, is packed with spectators, which our athletes deserve. It's like a standing room only opportunity environment, if you will.
They can park on the parking lot
Yeah,
at the
for
college.
free, yeah, which really charges up our athletes to compete in an exciting venue, to see a crowd. And so I think people come out to say, gee, I've heard about Special Olympics, let me check it out. And of course, a lot of them get out there and they say, we had no idea. We had no idea, which tells me I'm not doing my job very well if they had no idea till they got out there. But wonderful relationship with the city of Long Beach and going on.
And how many did you say
years.
you think for this?
We'll have 1,100 of our best athletes, and we average about 10,000 people on campus for the weekend.
Wow.
So big event.
That's marvelous.
Yeah, and the university and the city have embraced us tremendously.
And then 2 months from now is something that we have not had. Did we have it? Yes, we did have it once.
Back several decades ago, last century.
It was small.
Yeah.
Last century.
It's the Special Olympics World Summer Games, the largest sporting event in the world in 2015, and the biggest thing to hit Southern California since the 1984 Olympics.
No.
And I'm old enough to remember that. So very exciting. 7,000 athletes from all around the world coming here to Southern California to compete in 25 sports, including 5 sports here in Long Beach, which is great. There's also the Host Town program where all these 7,000 athletes fly in 3 days before the games, and we ship them out to 80 different cities in our footprint. And those respective cities host the athletes for 3 days for cultural exchange, and of course to get to people to know more about Special Olympics. So Jane Netherton,
just organizing that is mind-boggling.
You know, you're exactly right. It's a huge endeavor, as you can imagine. Jane Netherton, our vice chair of our board,
she's involved.
Is the volunteer chair for the Long Beach Host Town, and of course they've got China coming in because of the relationship with China and the Port of Long Beach. And so 100 athletes and delegation from China will be in Long Beach 3 days prior to the World Games. And of course, Jane and her committee are planning all sorts of great and fun things. They'll be staying on campus in the dormitories. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Well, for people from any parts of the world to spend 3 days in a city and be the center of the world for them, it's just marvelous.
Yeah, it's terrific. And we, for the first time, the games have an official media partner, and so the games will be shown on ESPN. Now, to me, that is so deserving for our athletes because we have trouble having the media take us seriously. Well, it's a good human interest thing. Well, being on ESPN gives us great credibility that our athletes are true athletes, and in the spirit of competition, I think ESPN sees it as pretty good programming.
And for the World Olympics, how do the participants earn their right to be there?
Sure, great question. They would have had to have gold medaled in their sport sometime in the last 18 months to be eligible. And then for Team USA, which our athletes in Southern California are a part of Team USA, we have 38 athletes because we were given...
You mean there are 38 athletes from the Long Beach area?
No, from Southern California.
From Southern California.
Including some from Long Beach.
Okay.
But all those gold medalists went into a hat, and Rayford Johnson and I picked out the 38 and of course you can imagine, they've known now for a year. This is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be great.
So these are first place winners.
Yeah, right. Gold medalists.
And there were many that could participate.
Sure.
But you could only take 38.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So they'll be competing against the very best in their sport from all around the world. It will be terrific. Yeah.
That's marvelous. And do they have the Special Olympics all over the world?
All over the world, 177 countries. It's spread that far. It started here in the United States and eventually spread to other countries. And of course, in other countries, Bev, in other societies, in other cultures, if you have a child with intellectual disabilities, there could be a certain amount of shame attached to that. And so to be able to display the dignity, the respect, the joy, the courage of the person with intellectual disabilities goes a long way to changing a culture.
Oh, wow.
Goes a long way to changing a culture.
That's marvelous.
Yeah. So it's life-changing stuff. And of course, I'm a lifelong sports guy, so to see sports do such good work, it's great.
It's fascinating when you think about the countries that probably have never really paid attention in that way to organizing something for these special needs. And how did these, over how many throughout the world?
177 countries, 4.5 million athletes around the world.
But 177 countries have representatives from Special Olympics.
Sure, and our international headquarters, we employ staff who go into those countries and train people. You know, we're a legitimate sports organization. We have to play by a certain set of rules, and those rules are imparted all around the world in all those countries. And of course, we're always sharing best practices in terms of how to coach and how to teach the person with intellectual disabilities.
Do the people that are in charge of these ever all get together?
Oh yeah, we get together at certain levels on a regular basis to exchange best practices.
From other countries?
Yes, other countries, yeah. And of course, you can imagine there'll be a big summit here in Southern California with the World Games because we'll have everybody in the world here. So it's a great time to get together and share updates and talk about how to do things better, how to change more lives.
Well, when I said that you were going to be busy next month, you're going to be busy for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just happen because, you know, just talking to you, I can see why they would want you to be in charge of it because you have a passion for it. You have the knowledge of how to do it, but you can't do it alone. What do you have helping you put this together in this area?
What a great question. I have the best staff in the world, mostly female, I will know. They indulge me. They know that I do a very few things really well, like this. They like to see me going out and telling the story publicly because then I have a tendency to muck up the details when I get too involved. So I have very capable people. We have very capable people on our staff who do a tremendous job. And it's interesting because when I took the job, the hook was we're a nonprofit, but Bill, we're a sports organization. Come in and run it like a sports organization. So the first day I met my staff, I said, we will be, Southern California will be the preeminent program in this movement. And afterwards they said, you know, what's the big deal? And I said, well, we're sports. That's what you say in sports. We're going to be the best. We'll figure it out. And of course, 10 years later, we have the World Games. Yeah, so
that's
very exciting.
Are there other states that are really involved?
Oh yes, yes. Every state has a program. Every state, I have a counterpart, a CEO in other states, and we're always sharing best practices. But I wanted Southern California to be, it's like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I want them looking over here going, who are those guys? Yeah. What are they doing? And of course, we're doing a lot of that, but we still learn great things from other people.
But you have a volunteer board also.
Oh my God, we have a great board. We have 15,000 volunteers. Our board is 60 people that are very well connected.
So you have a board of 60 people?
Yes.
And do they meet like?
Quarterly. In fact, yeah, we have our executive committee meeting tonight, and it's the last meeting till World Games. And of course, it seems like only yesterday, 5 years ago, we said, guess what? We got the World Games, and now they're here. So,
and so, but I mean, it's when you say you have 1,500 volunteers.
15,000.
15,000. Well, yeah. I knew it was a 1 and a 5. 15,000, but they're not people that you meet with all the time. They are like. What type of volunteers?
Well, you get a lot of parents, obviously, and a lot of family members who want to help their, oh my gosh, from coach to referee, to drive the bus, to make the meals, to help in fundraising events. We utilize volunteers across the board. They are absolutely our lifeblood. And of course, we have roles for any, you know, as you know, coming from a life in public service, Bev, there's a lot of capable, smart people out there who want to volunteer.
Oh, I know.
And that takes the intellectual capital of the organization up several notches because we can only afford so much staff.
Oh, yeah.
So I am so pleased that we have a board and other high-level volunteers that lend their intellectual capital. They're giving us the gift of their time and their talent.
Okay. I don't know if you like me asking you this question, but if somebody watching decided that they would like to help in some way, what could they do?
Go to our website, www.sosc.org. S special O Olympics, S Southern, C California, SOSC.org, and go to the volunteer prompt, and we'll get you involved, absolutely.
That's marvelous. Well, I can tell that you're passionate about it. I mean, we've gone this whole time, and I haven't had to ask very many questions because you could tell me all about it. And
that's why they like me out of the office.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Well, I am so pleased to see you, and feel so good about what you're doing, and that you are the head of what's happening in the next few months.
Well, I'm honored, Bev, as I told you off the air. You and Bob Maxon had so much to do with this decision.
No, this was
we
a smiling yes.
Yeah.
We didn't even have to think about it.
So we started all this 17 years ago.
Isn't that marvelous? Yeah. Well, good for you. I love that.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Well, this was a very fast conversation, and a lot of really good information was given to you today by our special Bill Schubart, and he is just an absolute gem, has been for over 20 years for the city of Long Beach. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again.